I never thought a faded Polaroid could unravel my entire world. But that's exactly what happened on that crisp autumn afternoon in Austin, Texas.
I'm Sarah Jenkins.
And at 32, I was grinding through life as a paralegal in a mid-sized law firm downtown. The job was steady, $65,000 a year. Health insurance, the whole 9 yards. My folks back in the small ranch town of Hilltop, about an hour west, always bragged about it to their church friends. Our Sarah's making it big in the city, they'd say. But truth be told, I was just treading water, buried in case files and depositions, dreaming of something more meaningful than pushing papers for divorce lawyers. I'd grown up on our family ranch, the kind with rolling hills, longhorn cattle, and sunsets that painted the sky like a canvas.
Dad.
Harlan Jenkins ran the place with an iron fist, old-school cowboy through and through. Mom, Evelyn, kept the home fires burning, baking pies and mending fences, literal and figurative. My older brother, Travis, was the golden boy, set to inherit the ranch.
Me?
I was the bookworm who fled to the city after college, chasing a law degree that fizzled into paralegal work when the bar exam kicked my butt twice. Family dinners were rare these days, but when they happened, it was all surface-level chit-chat. No one talked about the cracks, the arguments over money, Dad's drinking spells, or how Travis always got a free pass while I scraped by.
That day,
I'd driven out to Hilltop for a quick visit. Mom had called, sounding off, saying Dad wasn't himself. I figured it was just another flare-up of his arthritis or the ranch's finances dipping again. Austin's traffic was a nightmare, but once I hit the open highway, the tension eased. Hilltop hadn't changed much. Dusty Main Street, a diner called Rusty Spur, and folks who knew your business before you did. I parked at the old feed store and decided to stretch my legs before heading home. That's when I spotted him, an old-timer with a beat-up Polaroid camera slung around his neck, like something out of the 80s. He had a weathered Stetson, silver hair, and eyes that seemed to see right through you. He was snapping pics of passers-by, handing them out with a nod.
Mom.
Mind if I take your picture? He asked, his voice gravelly, like he'd smoked too many Marlboros. I hesitated. Strangers in small towns weren't unusual, but something about him felt off-kilter. Still, I shrugged. Sure. Why not? Make me look good. He chuckled, aimed the camera, and clicked. The whir of the film ejecting filled the air. He held it by the edges, waiting for it to develop, then passed it over. Here you go. This is you. 1 year from now, when you face what's been buried. I glanced down, expecting a snapshot of me in my jeans and boots, maybe with a feed store in the background. But my heart skipped. The woman in the photo was me. All right, same hazel eyes, same freckles across my nose. But I was standing in our family ranch house's living room, tears streaming down my face, holding what looked like old legal documents. Around me were faces I knew all too well, Dad looking defeated, Mom with her hand over her mouth, and Travis, his expression a mix of guilt and defiance. In the corner, a shadowy figure, maybe a lawyer, hovered. The scene screamed confrontation, like a family secret exploding into the open. But I'd never been in that exact moment. Hell, I hadn't even planned on digging into family drama. This ain't right, I stammered, flipping the photo over as if there'd be an explanation on the back. You must have swapped it or something. This looks like some kind of setup. He shook his head. Ain't no trick. Sarah. That's the you who's ready to uncover the truth. The ranch, Your kin, it's all tied up in lies. But you'll decide if it's vengeance or mercy that wins. Before I could grill him, he tipped his hat and shuffled off toward the diner, vanishing like smoke in the wind. I stood there, pulse racing, staring at the impossible image. How did he know my name? And what truth was he yapping about? I shoved the photo in my pocket and drove to the ranch. But my mind was a whirlwind. Mom greeted me with a hug. Dad grunted from his recliner. And Travis was out back fixing a fence. Dinner was the usual, pot roast, small talk about cattle prices, and avoiding the elephant in the room, Dad's failing health and the ranch's mounting debts. That night, lying in my old bedroom, I pulled out the photo again. The details gnawed at me. Those documents in my hand looked like wills or deeds, yellowed paper, official stamps, and Travis's face. I'd always sensed something off with him. Growing up, he was the charmer, but he'd racked up gambling debts in his 20s, and Dad had bailed him out more than once. Was there more to it? I tossed and turned, the photo burning a hole in my thoughts. Back in Austin the next week, work was a blur. I was prepping for a big divorce case. Ironically enough, one where a husband had hidden assets from his wife. As I sifted through financial records, echoes of the photo hit me. What if our family had hidden skeletons? I started small, pulling public records on the ranch. Nothing jumped out at first, just standard property taxes, a mortgage from the 90s. But then I dug deeper, using my firm's database. Turns out, there was a lien on the property from 5 years back, tied to a loan Travis had co-signed. Dad's signature was there, but it looked shaky, like he'd been pressured. I confronted Travis over the phone. Hey,
Bro.
what's this lien I found? Ranch in trouble. He laughed it off. Old news.
Cease.
Dad needed cash for equipment. I helped out. Why you pokin' around? His tone was too casual, like he was hiding cards up his sleeve. I let it drop, but the seed was planted. The photo had sparked something, a detective itch I didn't know I had. Over the next month, I pieced together more. Travis had been borrowing against the ranch without telling Mom or me, funneling money into shady investments. One was a failed oil venture in West Texas, classic boom or bust stuff. He'd forged Dad's signature on a couple of docs. Nothing criminal enough for jail, maybe, but enough to tank the family's legacy if it came out. Rage bubbled up. This was betrayal. Pure and simple. The ranch was supposed to be our inheritance. Split fair and square. But Travis was playing fast and loose, treating it like his personal ATM. I fantasized about exposing him, calling a family meeting, slapping those papers down, watching him squirm. Revenge felt sweet in my mind's eye. I'd sue if I had to, drag him through small claims or probate court. In Texas, family disputes like this could get ugly, but the law was on my side for fraud. One evening, after a long day, I drove back to Hilltop unannounced. The photo was in my glove box, a constant reminder. I parked down the road and snuck up to the barn, where I knew Travis kept his office, a messy desk with files. Heart pounding, I rifled through drawers. Bingo! Bank statements showing transfers to offshore accounts. Emails to investors promising big returns on ranch land he didn't fully own. It was all there, black and white. As I stuffed copies into my bag, headlights swept the driveway. Travis's truck. I froze, slipping out the back just in time. Driving away, adrenaline surging, I felt like a character in one of those true crime podcasts. But underneath the thrill was hurt, deep, familial hurt. Why would he do this to us? The drive back to Austin that night was a blur of anger and confusion. I gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white, replaying every family memory where Travis got away with murder, figuratively, at least. Like the time in high school when he wrecked Dad's truck joyriding and blamed it on a deer. Or when he borrowed my college fund for a semester and paid it back late, with excuses. I'd always forgiven him, chalking it up to brotherly antics. But this? Stealing from the ranch? Forging signatures? It was a gut punch. Back in my apartment, I spread the copied documents across my kitchen table, sipping black coffee to stay sharp. As a paralegal, I knew the legal angles cold. In Texas, forging a deed or loan doc could be felony fraud, up to 10 years if intent to defraud was proven. But family cases were messy. Judges hated pitting siblings against each other. I'd need solid evidence, originals, witnesses, maybe a forensic expert for the signatures. I could file a civil suit for breach of fiduciary duty since Travis was essentially managing ranch finances. Hell, I could even push for criminal charges through the DA's office. But that felt like crossing a line. Revenge whispered in my ear, make him pay. Ruin his reputation in Hilltop, where gossip spreads like wildfire.
But the Polaroid haunted me.
I pulled it out, studying the scene again.
Me
crying in the living room, papers in hand. Dad defeated, Mom shocked, Travis guilty. It wasn't a triumphant revenge fantasy. It looked like heartbreak all around. What if exposing this destroyed the family for good? Dad's health was fragile. Another stress could send him to an early grave. Mom would be devastated. And me? I'd be the whistleblower. The one who tore us apart. I decided to confront Travis privately first. Give him a chance to come clean. I texted him. Need to talk. Important. Meet me at Rusty's Spur tomorrow noon. He replied with a thumbs-up emoji. Clueless as ever. The diner was packed with locals, ranchers in boots, waitresses slinging burgers. Travis sauntered in, all smiles, ordering a Coke. What's up?
Cease.
You look like you swallowed a lemon. I slid the copies across the table. Explain this. The loans, the forgeries. You're bleeding the ranch dry. His face drained of color, but he recovered quick. Whoa. Easy there, Nancy Drew. It's not what it looks like. I was investing to save the place. Dad knows about some of it.
Bull.
Dad's signature's forged on half these. I checked the dates. He was in the hospital for his knee surgery when one was signed. He leaned in, voice low. Okay. Fine. I messed up. But it was for the family. Oil prices tanked. Investments went south. I was going to pay it back before anyone noticed. By selling off land parcels? That's our heritage. Travis, you think you can just gamble it away? We argued in hushed tones, drawing stares from the booth next door. He begged for time, swore he'd fix it.
But I saw red.
You got 1 week to tell Mom and Dad. Or I do. And if you don't, I'll take this to court. I stormed out, heart hammering. That night, I dreamed of the photo, only this time. It shifted, showing prison bars behind Travis. Revenge felt justified, but a nagging doubt crept in. Was this who I wanted to be? The Avenger destroying her own blood? Over the next few days, I threw myself into work, but the drama bled in. My boss noticed my distraction during a deposition prep. Everything okay? Sarah, you seem off your game. Just family stuff, I muttered. But it was more. I started researching similar cases, siblings suing over inheritances. In Texas probate law, if Dad passed without a clear will, it'd be a nightmare. Our family will was outdated from before Travis's schemes. I could challenge it, force a partition sale of the ranch. But winning meant losing everything that mattered. Then came the twist. Digging deeper, I found emails on Travis's copy drive to a woman named Lila Reyes. Not just business, intimate stuff. Turns out, she was his secret girlfriend, and he'd been funneling money to her business in Dallas, a boutique that was really a front for his debts. But wait. It got worse. Lila was married, and her husband was a big-shot developer eyeing ranch land for subdivisions. Travis wasn't just gambling, he was in bed with outsiders plotting to carve up our property. Fury reignited. This wasn't just family betrayal, it was a conspiracy. I could report it to the Texas Attorney General's office for fraud investigation. Visions of Travis in cuffs danced in my head. But as I prepared my evidence packet, Mom called. Sarah. Honey, something's wrong with your father. He's been actin' strange, forgetful.
Angry.
Doctor thinks it might be early dementia. My world tilted.
Dad.
The rock of the family. Slipping away? If I dropped this bomb now, it could kill him. I drove to Hilltop that weekend, photo in pocket like a talisman. The ranch looked smaller, more fragile under the Texas sun. Dad was in the den, staring at old photo albums. Remember when we built that fence together? He mumbled, pointing to a pic of us kids. Yeah.
Dad.
Good times. But inside, I see that at Travis, who was conveniently out on errands. Mom pulled me aside. He's been worried about the ranch. Says Travis handles it all now. But I don't know. Papers keep coming in the mail. I almost spilled everything. Instead, I hugged her. I'll look into it, Mom. That night, alone in the barn, I confronted the photo again. Why show me this future? To push me toward revenge. Or something else. The old man's words echoed. When you face what's been buried. Maybe it wasn't about destroying Travis, but healing the wounds. I decided to tail Travis, Trin Tam style. Borrowed a friend's car. Followed him to a motel outside town. There he met Lila, arguing heatedly. I snapped pics from afar, evidence mounting. But overhearing snippets, I can't keep this up. Travis. My husband's onto us, humanized it. Travis looked desperate, not villainous. Back home, I weighed options.
Sue?
Report? Or talk it out? The law was clear. I had grounds. But family wasn't a courtroom. As the weeks dragged on, the weight of the secrets pressed down like a Texas summer heatwave. I'd given Travis his 1-week ultimatum, but he ghosted me, texts unread, calls to voicemail. Fine, I thought. If he wanted war, I'd bring it. I compiled a full dossier, bank records, emails, even timestamps proving the forgeries. As a paralegal, I knew how to build an airtight case. In Texas, elder financial abuse was a hot-button issue, especially with Dad's potential dementia. I could loop in adult protective services, turn this into a full-blown investigation. But doubt crept in like shadows at dusk. The Polaroid, now tucked in my nightstand, showed not victory, but tears. Was that the endgame? A family in ruins? I confided in my best friend, Carla, over margaritas in Austin. Girl, that's some soap opera drama, she said. But are you sure blowing it up is the way? Families forgive. Right? Forgive? He betrayed us. But her words stuck. Revenge felt intoxicating, yet empty. Then, a breakthrough or breakdown. I got an anonymous tip via email. Check the old well on the ranch. Travis hid something.
Sender untres Ebel.
Paranoia hit. Was this a setup? But curiosity won. I drove to Hilltop at dawn, armed with a flashlight and crowbar. The old well, dry for years, was behind the barn. Prying off the cover, I found a metal box wrapped in plastic. Inside, more docs. But these were different. Letters from Dad to Travis, dated years back.
Son.
I know about your troubles. Use the land if you must, but don't tell your mother or sister. We'll fix it together. My knees buckled. Dad knew. He'd covered for Travis all along. Deeper in the box, medical bills from Mom's cancer scare a decade ago, tens of thousands. Paid off with ranch loans. Travis hadn't stolen. He'd sacrificed, taking the fall to protect us from the truth. But why the forgeries? Flipping pages. It clicked. Dad's early dementia signs showed in shaky handwriting. Travis had helped sign to keep things afloat, but botched it with bad investments. Tears blurred my vision. This wasn't black and white betrayal. It was gray area desperation. Travis had messed up big time. But out of love, I confronted him that evening, box in hand. He was in the kitchen, nursing a beer. Sarah. Save it. I found this. Dad knew.
He sighed.
Deflating.
Yeah.
He didn't want y'all worrying. Mom's health. The drought. We were sinking. I thought I could flip the investments, pay it back. But it snowballed. Lila? She was helping with connections, but her husband's a shark. Now he's threatening to foreclose if I don't sell. We talked for hours. Raw and real.
No excuses.
Just truth. Travis broke down, admitting his gambling addiction resurfaced. I was ashamed.
Sis.
Thought I could handle it alone. Anger faded to empathy. In Texas culture, families stuck together through hell or high water. Suing now felt like betrayal on my part. But we needed a plan, legal and emotional. I shifted gears from revenge to resolution. First, I consulted a family law attorney friend in Austin. You got options, she said. Mediation over litigation. Get a forensic accountant to sort the mess. Redraw the will fairly. And for Travis's forgeries? If no intent to defraud and Dad consented verbally, it might not stick criminally. We called a family meeting the next day. Mom.
Dad.
Travis. Me, around the old oak table. I laid out everything gently, photo-inspired, but without mentioning the mystic part. Dad nodded slowly. I remember bits. Trusted the boy too much. Mom cried, but hugged Travis. We fix this as a family. We agreed. Travis enters rehab for gambling. Texas has solid programs. We hire an accountant to renegotiate debts and update the will via probate court, equal shares, with safeguards.
No cops.
No suits, just healing. But Lila's husband, Victor Reyes, was the wild card. He wanted our land for development. Smelled blood. Travis owed him $50,000. I dug into Victor. Public records showed shady deals. Tax evasion hints. Trin Tam mode again. I anonymously tipped the IRS, buying time. As we navigated, bonds strengthened. I spent more weekends at the ranch, helping with chores, reconnecting. Dad shared stories I'd never heard, his own father's failures. Teaching forgiveness. Life's too short for grudges. Darling, the Polaroid scene loomed. One evening, tensions peaked. Victor showed up unannounced, demanding payment. Sell or sue, he barked. I stepped up, papers in hand, our counter, evidence of his coercion, plus a settlement offer. Walk away, or we expose your books. He backed down, grumbling. In the living room aftermath, tears flowed, just like the photo. But instead of destruction, it was catharsis. Travis apologized profusely. I won't let y'all down again. I forgave. Not forgetting, but choosing mercy. The old man's words rang true. Face the buried truth. Decide mercy over vengeance. With the immediate crisis averted, life settled into a new rhythm, one of cautious rebuilding. Victor slunk back to Dallas, his threats neutralized by our leverage. The accountant we hired, a no-nonsense gal from Austin named Rita, worked miracles, refinanced the loans at lower rates, sold off a non-essential parcel with family approval to clear debts. Legally, we filed for a will amendment in Travis County Probate Court, straightforward process. No drama. Dad's dementia diagnosis came official, but early intervention with meds and therapy kept him sharp most days. Travis checked into a 30-day program in San Antonio, specializing in addiction. I visited weekly, our talks evolving from accusations to understanding. I was scared.
Sarah.
Felt like I had to be the strong one after Dad started slipping. Turns out, his gambling stemmed from stress, classic cycle. Post-rehab, he joined Gamblers Anonymous, got a job at a local feed mill to prove himself.
Me?
The experience lit a fire. Paralegal work felt even more stifling now. Inspired by the detective rush, I enrolled in night classes for private investigation certification. Texas requires 100 hours training. Easy with my legal background. Dreams of starting my own firm bubbled, helping families uncover truths without the courtroom carnage. Family dynamics shifted too. Mom and I grew closer, baking and talking late into nights. She confessed her own regrets, staying silent during Dad's drinking years. We all bury things, honey, but unearthin' 'em sets us free.
Dad.
In lucid moments, taught me ranch lore, roping calves, reading weather. Proud of you.
Girl.
Always were the smart one. 1 year to the day after meeting the photographer, I returned to Hilltop's Main Street. The feed store bustled, same as before. And there he was, camera in hand, snapping a tourist. You, I said, approaching. That photo. It came true, but not like I thought. He smiled, eyes twinkling. Told ya. It was always about choosin', revenge or redemption.
How?
It's impossible. Ain't about magic. It's about seein' potential paths. You chose the humane one. He raised the camera. Another? I nodded. The new Polaroid developed, me in a cozy office. Badge reading, Jenkins investigations, surrounded by grateful clients, a family reunited. Happier. Purposeful. For the next chapter, he said, vanishing again. That image spurred me. I quit the firm. Launched my PI business from a small Austin office. First case, helping a neighbor trace a lost inheritance, legally sound, emotionally rewarding. Business grew via word of mouth. Hilltop folks trusted a local girl. Family thrived. Travis rebuilt trust, proposing to a sweet teacher he'd met in rehab. The wedding was ranch simple, barbecue, line dancing under stars. I gave a toast to second chances. May we always choose love over payback. The lesson sunk in gently. Betrayal hurts, but forgiveness heals. In America's West, where rugged individualism reigns, family bonds prove stronger than any grudge. I framed both Polaroids, reminders that futures aren't fixed, they're forged by choices. No more sleepwalking. I was alive, investigating truths, Mending fences. The photographer didn't predict, he reflected possibilities. And I chose the one with heart. Reflecting back, the months post-confrontation were a masterclass in resilience. I balanced PI classes with ranch visits, often driving the I-35 corridor at dawn. One case study mirrored ours, a sibling embezzling from a family trust. But instead of prosecution, mediation restored harmony, echoing our path. Travis's rehab letters were eye-openers.
Cease.
I see now how my pride nearly cost us everything. Thanks for not giving up. His return home was tentative, but Dad's embrace sealed it. We installed financial safeguards, joint accounts, regular audits. Legally, a family LLC for the ranch protected assets, no more solo decisions. My business launch was bootstrapped, website, business cards, networking at Austin Chambers. First client, a widow suspecting insurance fraud. I uncovered the truth ethically.
No shortcuts.
Word spread. Soon, I handled everything from missing persons to corporate due diligence, always emphasizing resolution over ruin. Romantically, sparks flew with a fellow PI student, Mike, a former cop with a kind heart. Dates were simple, hikes in hill country, talks about justice. He understood the drama I'd endured. The old man's second photo became my vision board. That office? I rented space downtown. Hung a sign. Uncovering truths. Building bridges. Cases poured in. A father finding his estranged daughter. A business owner exposing a partner's scam, but opting for buyout over lawsuit. At family gatherings, laughter replaced tension. Mom's pies tasted sweeter. Dad's stories inspired. Travis named his first kid after me, little Sarah. A bundle of joy. The human element shone. We're all flawed, capable of mistakes and redemption. In the West's vast landscapes, there's room for forgiveness. That Polaroid didn't dictate, it invited. And I answered with grace. Looking back on that transformative year, I realize how close I came to letting revenge consume me. The Polaroid was the catalyst, but my choices shaped the outcome. In the rugged spirit of Western America, where pioneers forged paths through adversity, our family emerged stronger, not despite the secrets, but because we faced them head-on. My PI firm flourished. By year 2, I had a small team, an assistant for research, a tech whiz for digital forensics. We specialized in family matters, infidelity probes, inheritance disputes, always pushing for amicable resolutions. One high-profile case involved a Dallas oil baron whose son had embezzled funds. Echoing my story, we uncovered the truth, but facilitated therapy sessions alongside legal fixes. The press dubbed us the healers of hidden hurts. Revenue hit 6 figures, stability without soul-crushing cubicles. Personally, Mike and I tied the knot in a sunset ceremony at the ranch, boots and all. Travis stood as best man, redeemed and reliable. Dad walked me down the aisle, lucid and beaming. Mom danced the two-step like she was 20 again. Travis turned his life around fully. He took over ranch operations legitimately, implementing sustainable practices, solar panels, crop rotation, to combat droughts. His family grew. Little Sarah became my goddaughter, a reminder of cycles breaking. Occasional doubts surfaced. What if I'd sued? But the law, while just, isn't always merciful. Texas courts overflow with fractured families. We dodged that bullet by choosing dialogue. The photographer? I never saw him again. But his lesson lingered. Futures are fluid, shaped by compassion. I kept the photos as talismans, showing clients sometimes.
See?
Truth hurts, but it heals. One day, a client mirrored my past, a woman suspecting sibling betrayal over a farm. I guided her gently, evidence gathering. Then mediation. She chose forgiveness, echoing my path. How'd you know? She asked. Long story, I smiled. Involves a magic camera and a lot of heart. Life's drama didn't end, but we handled it better. Dad's dementia progressed slowly. We cherished moments. Mom volunteered at church, helping others with secrets. In the end, the story wasn't about revenge. That'd be too dark, too destructive. It was about humanity, acknowledging pain, extending grace, learning that family's worth fighting for, not against. The West teaches resilience. We learned redemption. If there's a moral, it's light, bury secrets, and they fester. Unearth them with love, and growth follows. I became the woman in that second photo, confident, connected,
Alive.
not by chance, but by choice. And every sunrise over the ranch reminds me, we're all one decision from a better tomorrow. As years passed, echoes of that Polaroid rippled outward. My firm expanded to Houston, training mediators alongside investigators. We partnered with Texas Family Services, preventing court battles through early interventions. Success brought speaking gigs at women's conferences, law seminars, sharing our story anonymized. Betrayal doesn't define us. Our response does. Family holidays became joyous. Thanksgivings with turkey shoots. Christmases with carols under stars. Travis's kids ran the fields I once did, free from old shadows. Mike and I welcomed our own child, a boy, Harlan Jr., honoring Dad. Balancing career and family taught patience, mirroring the forgiveness I'd granted. Dad passed peacefully at 78, surrounded by us. His eulogy, a man who taught us to mend, not break. The ranch thrived under Travis, with me as silent partner, legal docs ironclad. The old man's wisdom proved timeless. Stop resisting truth. Embrace mercy. In America's heartland, where vast skies meet endless horizons, there's space for second chances. I still wander hilltop streets sometimes. Camera-less, but eyes open. No more mystics needed. I've got the tools within. That snapshot didn't capture fate, it illuminated possibility. And I chose the humane road. Every step.